Indeed, the very process of construction and creation foreshadow destruction and decay. The palace of today is tomorrow's ruin. The maiden of the morning is the crone of the night, and the hope of a moment is but the foundation stone of everlasting regret. In today's video, we jump headfirst into the diseased world of the Chaos God Nurgle, as we learn of his history, his plagues, and his home within the warp. For as much as Nurgle represents pestilence and infection, he also symbolizes rebirth and regrowth. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Deep within the warp lies a forest of twisted trees and unnatural forms. It is a macabre paradise of death and pestilence, and is alive with every disease, affliction and pox, both known and unknown to man. This is the Garden of Nurgle, home of the plague god himself. Insects of all forms cover the trees, and large swarms of black flies fill the sky, casting shadows across the lands. Fungi of hideous form break through the leaf litter, pumping toxic spores into the air like poisonous chimneys. Travelling deeper into the garden, all the way to its very heart, sits Nurgle's mansion. Rotted timber and cracked walls blend with the aesthetics of the forest that envelop it. And within these walls, Nurgle himself toils day and night at his cauldron, creating and perfecting his latest diseases. Caged in the corner of the room is the Eldar goddess of healing Isha, who Nurgle uses as a way to test his latest deadly concoctions. He feeds her the diseased broths to test the effects, as he watches closely to see how long it will take her immortal form to counteract the toxins. Isha is not unable, however, to help the mortal races that she holds so close to her heart. Unbeknownst to the Plague Father, she whispers to them across the warp while he is distracted with work, calling out the cures in hopes that they reach the right ears. Nurgle is one of the four mage chaos gods, and was the third to awaken. He fully awakened during Earth's Middle Ages, when the Black Death swept its way across the continents, heralding his birth. He goes by many names, including the Plague Father, the Master of Pestilence, and the Lord of Decay, to name just a few, and represents morbidity, disease, and corruption of the flesh, but also rebirth through decay. Of the four gods, Nurgle is the most involved with the plight of the mortal races. Those afflicted by his contagions often turn to him in their hour of need in order to escape their suffering, as he whispers in their ears. He promises to release them from pain and grant them a new lease of life. It is even possible to regard Nurgle as the Lord of all, as all things, no matter how solid and permanent, are over time liable to some form of physical corruption. Nurgle feeds upon the insecurities, denial, and fear of death and disease, as well as the subconscious responses to that fear, as all living creatures instinctively fight for survival, using this fear of death to attract new worshippers. As man lays dying, forgotten in his cramped living quarters on a distant planet of the Imperium, he writhes in agony, as he knows no one will come to his aid. Nurgle will offer him a way out, a way to live one more day in peace, in return for his soul. Never granting a cure, but rather granting a comfort in his suffering. Once granted Nurgle's blessings, you will no longer feel physical pain, and begin to gain a morbid satisfaction from your ever-mutating and rotting form. Despite their putrid forms, Nurgle and his demons are known to be rather jovial and friendly. This goes for his mortal worshippers as well, as they find a disturbing form of joy in their pestilence, even to the point where his plagues are seen as bountiful gifts, as the infected worshippers cry out, not in pain, but rather in gratitude. A perfect example of their fanatical worship can be seen on the demon world of Bubonicus, where an endless chain of crazed followers circle the planet's equator in a never-ending dance. To worship Nurgle is to become a living embodiment of disease and decay, but the rewards bestowed upon you in return are great. A far longer and powerful life, comfort in your suffering, and a feeling of belonging, something a lot of people do not receive in the modern Imperium. The amassed armies of Nurgle are referred to as the Plague Legions. Within this, it can be broken down into many smaller legions, each with their own specific tasks and goals to achieve. The Fecundus Legions are the makers of disease, travelling the warp to gather ingredients for Nurgle's vile concoctions. The Pathogenius Legions are often sent to guard key areas in Nurgle's garden. They represent disease manifest, their bodies bloated with bile and sickness. The Infectious Legions are the harbingers of new diseases, and set the groundworks for widespread infections. The Epidemic Legions comprise of mainly demons, spreading far out into the world to ensure sickness can take hold. The Rot Legions are revelers in decay, and break down anything living or not that is put in front of them. The final two are the Morbidus Legions, who are the harbingers of death, and the Necroticus Legion, who is the most resilient, using hopelessness and despair as weapons. The structure of each Plague Legion is commanded by a Great Unclean One, followed by a Demon Prince or Herald of Nurgle respectively, who in each turn controls one of the Legion's 7 Talibands. 7 is an important number to Nurgle, as it is indeed seen as his holy number. The 7 total types of legions each contain 7 Talibands, and within each there are 7 packs of lesser demons and demonic beasts. Just like the other Chaos Gods, Nurgle also has a plethora of demons at his disposal, each one's appearance sickening and putrid to behold. Some main ones include the Great Unclean Ones, who I mentioned earlier. They are the greater demons of Nurgle and are no doubt the most horrific to behold. They often carry great blades, known as plague swords, into battle. These blades are dipped into the infectious pus that pools at the base of Nurgle's throne. Contrary to their appearance, however, they are rather caring to their followers, and will even refer to them as their children. Plague Bearers are referred to as Nurgle's talisman, and are his common demons. They strive to number and list the many poxes of their master, and represent the need for humanity to bring order to an orderless and uncaring universe. A single scratch from their rusted swords is enough to infect almost any foe, and bestow Nurgle's rot upon them. Particularly skilled Plague Bearers will be recruited to serve in the Plague Drones, the heavy cavalry of Nurgle's army. Nurglings and their lesser known king Glitchlings are mischievous miniature representations of Nurgle. They are often seen swarming around powerful demons, and will attempt to overwhelm an enemy by sheer volume of numbers. Molluscoids and rotflies are putrid mounts, and are both able to cause terrible damage to the enemy lines, as even after death their infected innards can cause irreparable damage. As well as these demon hordes, Nurgle also has his demon engines. This technology started just like any other, but over time the machine spirits, and indeed the machines themselves, have become as infected and pox-ridden as the armies that use them. Over the years, many Space Marine chapters have also fallen to the worship of Nurgle. I plan to do a separate video focusing on this, but the most notable legion in Nurgle's service is the Death Guard, who fell during the Horus Heresy and are led by their Primarch, now turned Demon Prince Mortarion. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look into the Plague Lord. As I said, I will do a follow-up video at some point on the Death Guard, as they have a very interesting and full history. If you would like to learn some more 40k facts, consider subscribing. I try to do as much research as I can for these videos to ensure that they are as informative as I can make them. For now, thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.